Going live, going live, going live. Welcome. Welcome to Amberskies, the future of 3D networking. And today, unfortunately, is the C++ game programming finale. Yeah. Because next week we start something slightly different. And for very good reasons. So, why is today the finale? Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what happened last week. Last weekend, in fact. Have I got it anywhere here? I will have somewhere. Let's have a quick look. No. So it'll be in here. Yay! We're in here. So, what do we got? Let's put this on the desktop, shall we? CodeBlocks. It's a neat little program that I took down off the internet. It's a freebie. Nothing harming us here. So, Amberskies server was what was doing before everything went pear-shaped. As you can see, I've commented the whole program out, and in its place I've put a little glfw init terminate and standard test for initializing glfw. So if I run it, it does that, which it says glfw init. No problem there, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Yay, the game's good, let's go for it. No, we can't. There's something on CodeBlocks which people seem to ignore. And it's a little thing called Valgrind. Lovely name. And it says run memcheck, which runs your program, as you can see. It's done it, it's finished, and it's done the memory check. There it is. Leak definitely lost 192, 16 direct, 176 indirect bytes in one block are definitely lost in loss record 62 of 76. And that's what it produces for that little program. And you look at it, it says glfw init. So somewhere under creation and open, it never gets closed. And I've used glfw terminate to close it all. So there's an error in glfw, which is the reason for this video. We can't use it, because that's not the only error in glfw. I thought I'd spare you the rest. Initially I had 16. I managed to bring that down to 4, and then found all the rest were in glfw. Unacceptable, because one of those is every time you open a window, you can't reclaim the memory. So if I was to do, let's say, a game and it had a backpack in it which you could open, and a window pops up, and then you close your backpack. Every time you open and close your backpack, you lose memory. And that adds up a little bit. We're not talking about 192 bytes either. We're talking like 4K at a time, without even any problems at all. In fact, the whole thing was losing, I'd say, about 5 or 6K all the time, just leaking memory away. Yeah. Sorry. Start again. But Less of this negativeness, Blades. That's not your style. We don't do negative here. Oh, wait a minute. I just had a good idea. Let's try something else out. Let's write a small program. Let's see, create a new project. Why not? What do we got? Code blocks. We have Fortran. Interesting. No, I don't want Fortran. Qt. Yeah, we could do a Qt one. Libraries. Why can't I see what I'm after? Console application. That'll do. Okay, one console application. Let's do this. C++. Project title. I'll call it test bench. So that's what I'm going to do. Twitch, test bench, resulting file name. Next. Bin, yeah, I'm happy with that lot. I don't care. Right, here we go. Let's get this out of the way. Put that back down to where it should be. Here's our main. Now, let's see what we need in settings. No, is it settings? Compiler? Let's have a look. Oh, this looks fun. Compiler settings. Okay. That one there, please. We'll have C++ 17 linker settings. Add a library. Any library. Let's have SDL2. Okay. Search directories. Don't need. Let's just have SDL2. That's all we need on the linker. I don't know how to use SDL2, by the way. So, we're about to learn. Let's first of all build this. That works. Run it. That absolutely works. Thank you for that. And now let's just see if we can... I can't even see the cursor on this screen. Right, well I don't know where the cursor is, but hey ho. There it is. Great system this is. So SDL. Yeah. SDL.h, I'm guessing. Okay. And all we need to do now is what we normally do, which is if just one set of brackets, please. What will it be? SDL, probably an underscore init. Yeah, we got that bit. What can we do? A uint32 flags. This function loads the SDL dynamic link library and initializes a subsystem specified by flags and those satisfying dependencies. Unless the SDL no parachute flag is set, it will install cleanup signal handlers for some commonly ignored fatal signals like SIGSEGV. Okay, so we'll have an init. So we'll have SDL underscore init underscore everything. That sounds good. We'll have that. Okay. And it will be SDL underscore, is it log? LO Be LOG, won't it? SDL log macro definition description. Nah, don't want that. I've got IO stream, haven't I? So C out. And that is SDL2 has initialized. Full stop. I'm just guessing where the cursor is now, because I can't see it. There we go. I don't know why it's put that on the end. Don't need it. Strange thing. So if it initializes, then we will need to clean up. So SDL standard test. I'm guessing it's that one there. That one. And it's a void, so I just do that. That's fine. And then it's else. Oh, don't do that to me. Return. Thank you. C out. And that's SDL2 failed. Simple enough. ENDL semicolon before it gives me any rubbish. Return 0. Right, so exactly the same program that I did for GLFW. So let's see if we can actually build that. 103.09 kilobytes. Interesting. That was with everything. Very interesting. Run it. There we go. SDL2 failed. Press enter. Is equal to SDL underscore OK. Is that correct? No, I don't think it is. So, what does this return? An int. Okay. Right, okay, great then, or equal to 0. Well, actually, it's just equal to 0, I think, for SDL. Just trying to remember. It's been a while since I've used this language. There we go. That's right. Right, that's now right. So I've initialized. See, yeah. Crazy, crazy, crazy. So yeah, okay. Let's do the Valgrind run test. Won't take long. Doo-doo-doo-dum-dum. See if we can use this one, shall we? There we go. That's a little bit better, but I know why that is. And that 1 byte isn't actually lost. It's the rest that I would really worry about. Is this coming from the previous one? Okay, this is correct actually. Yeah, that's right. Yep, that's right. So it only has 1 error. Wow. 1 byte. I can live with 1 byte and it isn't on a window. That's excellent. Yeah, I'll take that. That's a little bit better. And by the way, these memory leaks aren't all correct. That one certainly isn't. It's to do with the malloc system, because that's in glibc 2.3, and I know there's a fault in there, and I think they know there's a fault in there, but that's got nothing to do with it, because we won't be using that part of it anyway. Lovely. I'm happy with that. I think we might try SDL then. So, important announcement. Next week, we are starting something different. We are going to start prototyping a multiplayer game using SDL. I don't know if I can really use anything here to help describe what I'm about to do, but I mean I can try, I suppose. That's a bit big. A little bit big. Let's pop it this way. Okay, we don't need the sides. Pop that across there. Don't need the sides. There we go. That's looking better. Hop on. What do we got? Open. Right. Amberskies development. What we have is all of this lot. And I've been looking at the UO stuff and seeing how they've done theirs. And they've also got this bit here. This server bit. So what we're going to do is we are going to do something called prototyping. And really what that is something quite weird. It's going to allow me the freedom to innovate and mess about, really, I suppose. I think that's the best way of putting it. Is there a clear screen? Yep, there is. Do I have a pen? I've got a pencil. Oh, I was ready for this, wasn't I? Can you tell? Let's get this keyboard out of the way. There we go. Right, so do we have a title for this project? Let's see. Let's see if we can work out a title. Anybody got any ideas? Oh, wait a minute. Look at chat. How old are you? Sorry, I don't answer personal questions, but thank you for the question anyway. Let's have a look. Is this plugged in? No, it's not. And that is open terminal here. Have I got any commands here? No, I haven't ever. Ah, well, never mind. Yeah, hi there, and a shout out to said who 12, is it? Is it 12, or have you got something else in there? Sorry, my eyesight is rubbish. I'll tell you that for free. No, don't want that. But yeah, shout out to you, mate. Hi there. I think it is a 12, yeah, I know. So let's see. I want to sudo a /, and what we got? Oh gosh, pen tablet _ driver. Okay, pen tablet. Don't know if anybody else has ever had to do this kind of thing. Driver, because this is a Windows tablet. It's not Linux. There we go. We've got a pen tablet now. Don't tell anybody. do that. Okie dokies. Let's have a look. Oh, we've got a pen tablet now. So, righty. Any ideas what we should call it then? What is this game about? Right, okay, I think that's what we'll start with. So it's going to be a multiplayer. So let's try starting with that. So it's going to be a multiplayer. So we're looking at an MMO really style thing. Should we make it an RPG? Open world. So open world. Let's aim for the skies. We'll never get there, but hey ho. World. We'll get a game out of it. Open world. Fantasy? Do we want fantasy or do we want something else? 2D or 3D? Both. So this is going to be a prototyping. So what we're going to do is we're going to prototype this. So this is really what you might call the initial phase of development cycle, where you would prototype and see what kind of problems you're going to face, because at this stage this will enable us to explore, test, and find the big problems, which I already know a few of them. And we ran out of screen. Ooh, there you go, problems. So what we're really going to aim at is, well, initially it's going to be first goals. So initial goals. Or 1v1 PvP combat. That's where we'll head, and that will be in 2D. And after that, we start 3D. So basically what I want to do is I want to prototype up to the stage where two people could log into a server and fight each other in a duel. So duel style. Which is why I asked if you would like it fantasy or not. Because that would go quite well with flintlocks, wouldn't it? I mean, we could do a flintlock duel for our initial goal, or we could do handbags at dawn, or what would it be? No, I'm not quite sure really. So it'll start in 2D and it will then progress. Oops, that's helpful if it's no. Progress to 3D at that stage. Because we'll have the basis of any game sorted out at that point. We'll have a server, we'll have movement, and hopefully we'll have combat of some kind. I'm not quite sure how that's going to be. It's not going to be turn-based, it is going to be real-time, so it is an MMO-style RPG. I mean, for one person to try and actually complete an MMO RPG fully, is like climbing Mount Everest blindfolded. Because if anybody here knows how it's going to be done, don't hesitate to join in and help out, because I've got no idea how it's going to finally be done. I know how to take small steps in the right direction, but that's how we're going to do it. And we're going to identify problems and overcome them in a prototype fashion. Now, you might not be aware of how I normally write my programs. Let's see if I've got a program here. Let's try code. I don't know if you've seen any of my other stuff. This is why I'm saying it. This is how I normally write. Okay? So, you will get all information in front of you, type of thing. Everything has notations, test printer, everything's noted for what it is. And when you run something like this, I don't know if this even runs, does it? Soon tell you. Yeah, that runs. So that's where we were up to with the Thinking Club, which is basically your game board. And the next stages of this was obviously to put to play a character on it, and I think I did some downloading, or I was hunting around the internet for like a character style, but I already know what I'm going to do. So yeah, that's just me getting a game board together type of things, and it's pretty easy to do. I mean, it's not hard to do something really like that, to be quite honest with you. That's the basics of OpenGL. So, I mean, the 3D part of it doesn't worry me. The 2D part of it is going to be a bit of a learning curve, because I don't know anything about 2D. That's going to be interesting. So when it comes to the 3D, we've already got most of the code here. Literally. The display we can't use, because that's GLFW. But things like shaders, we can definitely use this. How to create a check compiler errors and stuff like that with shaders. So a lot of fallback code. I've even got more than that, but the other bits and pieces are from the YouTube channel. So if I do include those, I might have to explain them a bit. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. It depends what you want. If you want me to do this speedily, or whether you want me to do it at my normal pace of go through everything and tell you everything type of thing. I'm quite happy to do either. Fast, slow, in between, whatever. Oh, hey, look. Still around. Hiya, Sil. But yeah, we're going to have some fun. So yeah, let's just get that out of the way. So I've got a lot of 3D in the background. Let's just have a quick look. Let's have a look on Windows. Windows is over here. Windows is stupid. It's got no security on it whatsoever. You just click a button and you're on Windows. That's good, isn't it? I will go for workspace development. Let's have a think. Let's try module 1. What we got in here? So this is a display with OpenGL. Okay. Sounds interesting. Go back to the workspace, programs. Oh, I've gone out of it again, haven't I? Workspace. Development. That's no good. Let's try module 3. That's a client. There you go. So in here, yeah, it's big piece of programming. It's a client application type of thing, and well, there we go. We've got a client in here, but in here I've obviously got my networking stuff. So I've been playing around with networks and all the code for that kind of thing, and it's all in SDL. So heck, nothing to change there really, except that that's TCP, and I'm thinking of using UDP instead. It'll be a lot faster. So there's that to look at, and I'll have to learn UDP as I go. But it's the same kind of ideas as this. So there's no problems with networking. So we've got networking, we've got 3D backup. All we've got to do is get the game. And that's what I want to get to. I want to get to this game bit and actually get something that is playable. I hope that makes sense. I've done everything else. It's just that I've never done the actual game. I was just starting that last week. Yeah, last week it was. And last weekend I found out it was massively bugged by the library. And I checked it online, and it was, yeah, massively bugged by the library. So, hey ho, and up we go type of thing. Next. So we'll try an SDL. We'll try an SDL too. So if anybody wants to follow along, download it. And, oh, thank you. Thank you, said who? 12. Thank you. Big shout out to you, mate. Thanks. That's pretty good. A 3D RPG is crazy. Yeah, there's no chance that one person could probably do it in about the lifetime of a person. I've got no illusions about my capabilities of being able to program WoW. I'm not going to go there. For one person to actually program a 3D dual style game, like a 1v1 initially, I think that's a reasonable goal. And then to add items like an equipment system, backpack, inventory, all kinds of things that you'd expect from an RPG. We can then look at how we do that. Oh gosh, not a platformer. I couldn't stand that. Yeah, I know. 3D MMO? Nah, but. What would you learn more from? Attempting to do the impossible or doing the simple and easy? I think attempting to do the impossible is going to be a lot of fun. How's about that? I'm up for it. I'll do it. I don't mind. I'm quite happy as long as I can get through the initial prototyping into the game. Then I'll be very, very happy. I'll be immensely happy. I know. Oh dear. Yeah. Said who 12 thinks I'm absolutely crazy, and he's completely correct, which is fantastic. Somebody's found out that I'm an absolute nutcase. But yeah, I just fancy a challenge. I mean, the first bit isn't, but the rest of it is, because I don't know how it all works or fits together. And I'm a designer by nature, not a programmer. So for me, it'll be great fun, because just designing it would be good. I mean, that'll be the most fun part for me. The programming side of it is neither here nor there to me. I mean, that's just something that you do once you've decided what you're going to do. It's just deciding what you're going to do that's the hard part. Actually, you're quite right. Yeah, an old Zelda type style RPG. I'm a big Ultimate Online fan, but that's 2.5D. I mean, I've actually got a server that's running at the moment with that on. So, I mean, I'm a big fan of that. Actually, that reminds me, I've got to do some work on it as well. But yeah, I think we've got the beginnings there of something. We need a name for it. So, is it going to be Mad Person Builds an MMO? Is that what we're going to call it? Ah, dear. Why it leaves a dot there? I don't know. Title. What shall we call it? Any ideas? What was the last one was C++ game programming. God knows what. So I'll drop the C++ because it doesn't have to be. That's something else I'm going to be looking at very, very quickly, is languages. When you start doing something like this, I know 100%, there's no two ways about it. You can't do it all in C++. That'd be just absolutely mental. So, C, yeah. Yeah, I tend to use more C than C++ even when I'm writing C++, and that's the truth. So yeah, there'll be a lot of C in there. I'm thinking maybe a bit of Java. Lua script languages, stuff like that. I like C, by the way. C, C was my first real effort at programming. I started on assembly programming when I started programming. I graduated to C when it actually came out. Yep, when it hit the market, I was the first person there buying the disc. And it was a little blue disc. Yeah. Everything in C. Nah, I'm tempted towards a bit of scripting though. I don't know. It depends how well you can get scripting into it. So I mean, we've got C++. That gives you C automatically, really, when you think about it. Lua sounds interesting to me. I don't know the first thing about it, but it sounds interesting. So, scripting. As Python, it would be used in exactly the same way, I suppose. That would be, again, scripting. Lua with C, yeah, that would be awesome. That would, well, Lua is C sharpy, really, isn't it? And that is the one language I don't like. But if Lua turns out to be very C sharpy, I might just throw it in the bin and go for Python. But I'll have to have a look at it first. So there's that. Oh, yeah. If anybody's interested in Qt and QML, those are other options. The Qt, by the way, is C++, and QML is a markup language, a bit like Java, but not quite. Yeah, we'll call it Java-ish. It's a bit wishy-washy, actually, QML, but it's alright. I'm not sure you could even call it Java-ish. It's not XML. Oh, we haven't included that either, have we? XML. That goes on that side, but that's a markup language, just like QML is. XML comes with Qt as well, because Qt uses XML. So, I mean, there's plenty of things. Oh, there's also Qt 3D. which is again another C++ language within Qt. It's a subsection. Woo, yeah, I've got sections and subsections of languages which I know, which I don't even know I know. That's how bad it is. If you're interested in Qt and Qt 3D, pop over to my website, www. So, oh, we can do the adverts, can't we? No, we're not doing adverts on this one, because it's the closing down of one idea and the opening of another. That's not fair to do adverts. But yeah, I mean, there's all of these things that we could go for, and we could just have a simple title, couldn't we? I can't call it an MMO really. Well, actually, yeah, multiplayer programming. So I'll just put prog. I'll put MMO in brackets because it's ridiculous to think I'll ever get there. But multiplayer, definitely. I mean, to do something like a very, very simple idea of Counter-Strike, or I mean, I got to remember that this is going to be a prototype. Now, I'll go into what a prototype actually is on Monday for definite. Yeah, no. I know. I just got to give it some kind of title for the stream, really. I don't know. The concept, or the game concept itself, is really just to start off with, is to get something up and running that is multiplayer. I mean, how you branch off from that is where you stop prototyping and you start thinking about maybe designing something and core features. So that will come a lot later. I mean, prototyping, I'm expecting 1 to 2 months max. And then design and core features, well, yeah, that way. But that's the kind of thing. Yeah. I mean, I'm a bit like that. Check out Entity X, by the way. Oh, right, I will do. Yeah, okay, I'll make a note of that. Let me just go over here a minute. Entity X. There we go, that goes on there. To-do list, Entity X. Yeah, of course you can. Oh, Entity X, yeah. Oh, ECS, yeah. I'm so forgetful. It's Entity C and, yeah, system. The bits that plug in. Pretty fast stuff, yeah. Qt. Qt relies on that ECS system. It's got a massive part in it. I don't know if I've got Qt on here. Might have, if we're lucky. Yeah, we have. We're in. Have I got the help up? There we go. That's contents. Search. Oh no. Filter. ECS. Oh, God. no good for the index, is it? It doesn't even have ECS on. It's under... Trying to think actually where they did put it. That's a damn good question actually. We'll have to go for a search, and it hasn't built a database. Yeah, well, sorry, I can't actually read your name from this distance. Just one sec. Let me put my glasses on. Shout out to Will and Saba. Sorry, I couldn't get your name there. Working on optimization. Calling functions with shared pointers as parameters. Right. Should you be passing by reference? Pointers have got nothing to do with that. You can pass by reference anything. Pointers is just where it stores or allocates memory, where the system gets its memory from to store your data in. Pointers are from the heap, and non-pointers are on the stack. So you have a stack which is next to the chip, which is really, really fast because it's chip-based. Very small memory compared to main memory, which is however much leftover you got on your machine. Gigs usually, whatever, instead of megs. So that's what pointers are. Should you pass things by reference? Only if it matters. Because if you don't, you're going to be doing copies. Copying is expensive in C, or, well, actually most languages. If you put A equals B, and you copy the contents of B into A, then that's expensive. If you make... Sorry, go on. No, a shared pointer would not make a copy of the pointer. It would just place the... Well, it would make the pointer point to the same address. You can't think of pointers as variables as such. They don't work quite in the same way. So what you would be doing when you're passing a pointer is you are sending the location in memory, the address, to another function. So if the other function does anything at all with that pointer, it's going to affect the original as well. So you've got a knock-on effect, and you can use that to your advantage, or you could trip over it. It's pretty tricky stuff. It's situational for me. Will I use pointers or will I pass by reference? Depends how big the object is. Because the other thing about the stack that people don't realise is that each function, when it's called, gets its own local stack as well. So there's a lot more going on behind C and C++ than first meets the eye. If you want me to go into it more depth, I will, but should you pass by reference? Should you? It depends on the situation. It's not a speed factor, actually, at the end of the day. It's a memory management factor. It's how you manage your memory. And C++, a lot of the time, you'll find that people are just trying to manage memory more than anything. For instance, if I've got a window object, then that's going to be big because it's going to have the window, it's going to have all the code entailed in creating that window, managing that window, and also it's got two buffers, a back buffer and a front buffer for OpenGL, and that affects your memory card as well, sorry, your graphics card as well. So you're also spreading memory across two different systems, and as soon as you get into pointers, it's yeek, it can get tricky. That's why OpenGL uses handlers, by the way, not pointers. Yeah, that is absolutely correct. Yeah, by passing a pointer of the window to a function, it just passes the address in memory of where the object begins. I think that's, is that a better way of putting it? In memory? Yeah, begins. So you've got to be careful in some instances. Actually, I'll show you. Let me get rid of this. Has it done? All right. Might actually give it me this time. Ah, there it is. Here we go. If you look in Qt3D and the overview here, it goes into shadow mapping. Yeah, that's great. But it also goes into ECS. And the Qt3D architecture, which uses it very, very well. Here it is, components. That was it, component. So it's an entity with many components, depending on which ones you choose to give it, type of thing. Fantastically fast system, beautifully done. If you can program it yourself, well done. Is all I'm going to say, because it takes quite a complicated event system to actually pull off. You've got to be good at programming event systems to be able to do ECS effectively. And you're quite right about passing of memory addresses, but there was that silly one that I wanted to show you. So that ends your ECS part. Well, I'm here, so I may as well show you. Right, so pointers. Oh, eexy. So let's have a look at pointers. It's one of my favourite subjects, actually. Right, there is the star pointer. Right, that's the one that people expect. All right. Oh gosh, no, sorry, no, don't get me wrong. Qt I can't use. You need a license to write anything in that if you want to release it. As anything at the other end. Game dev. I'm more of. I prefer to be a designer, not a dev. I can answer questions with answers that people understand, I hope. With pointers, there's something you've got to be aware of, and it's arrays. Now, this also includes vectors, because vectors is just basically an endless array. Now, architecture, I think. I think that's a better way of putting it. I like all the technical bits, but this time I'm definitely going to do more of a game-based development, because I've done architecture now for quite a bit, and yeah, I just wanted a change. Really? I've written shaders about 200 times now. I'm getting, I could just do the break. So I wanted to learn something a little bit new. Something called, what do they call them? Sprites, that was it. Sprites. I want to know how to use a sprite properly. Arrays and vectors, yeah. When using arrays and vectors, what you've got to remember is that, let's try m underscore array, and we'll give it 10 blocks. Okay, that is a pointer. This part here is a pointer to the first, to that memory allocation. So if you want to pass that as a pointer, you just need to send it array. But you have to be more careful than that, because there are situations when you need to send the address of the pointer, and you'll see that in OpenGL where it asks for a void star. Anything like a void star, you're starting to get to and then it would be m underscore array, and then you have to tell it 0. So if it's a one-dimensional array, two-dimensional array, and of course that goes for matrices as well. Sorry. So that affects, I've got my hand tilted the wrong way, matrix as well. So matrices are affected in a very similar kind of way. So when you go into OpenGL, you'll get to a situation where you are sending the address of the pointer to the first item in the array, or the first item in the matrix, or the first item in the vector. And at that stage, that becomes, what is it? What have you done? And the answer is, you sent a reference to a pointer, or a pointer of a pointer. An address of, you sent the address of the address. Yeah, it gets a bit mind-blowing, technically wise. I love all that kind of stuff because that's what I'm into. I'm a nerd. So yeah, architecture, I think. Graphics designer, I'll design anything you want, really. I don't mind. I don't mind. But yeah, so if you are using pointers and you do want to pass by reference, you can just use. You can also pass by reference anything. So a equals. So if you've got a equals 1, then you can say function name, any function name, add. And you can open brackets and put reference a, comma, reference a, and that will equal 2 times a. But the function will look different, because the function itself will be void. Because you've sent the references in, so the a is being altered inside. You can't put const here or anything like that, because it's not. You are going to be altering the actual values within a by operating on what you receive. So you've got to be aware of that. You're actually operating on a here. This a equals 1. If I started with a equals 2 there, after this, a would equal 4. If you get me drift. So again, sending by reference, be aware of what you're doing, because there's no return value. It's not needed. This is a good way of getting multiple return values if you think about it. I use it in my string split to good effect, so that I don't have to mess about with a vector being passed around. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, that I agree. That's people usually use references when they really want to modify it, modify the actual variable. Yeah, Yeah, that's the way you should look at it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good approach. It's not the only approach, but it's a good one. Spot on, mate. Spot on. Well done. Shout out. Good. And I think my coffee's gone cold. I bet it has. Right. So I'll introduce myself. My name's Blades. Well, I call myself Blades for the channel, but Fraser Blade Sharp. Blades is my nickname. You can also pop over to a YouTubey place called Amberskies. Pop it up. You might be interested in this, you might not actually. Don't mind. So, YouTube. There it is. So, search Amberskies C++. I should be there somewhere. Yeah, there I am. So go to Amberskies. Here I am. So there's a few games I play, but you'll find in the playlist section quite a lot of created playlists around C++. I've done a Qt one here somewhere. Qt. There's a Qt full one there. I've actually got a game here somewhere. That was a spin-off from the static library that I did. So, yeah. There's bits and pieces in there. There's quite a few of those I can't see right now. But, yeah. Close that. I don't want to do too much advertising on Twitch. But yeah. Right, just 1 second. Let me just reread that. I took my glasses off again. So I've just got to read something on screen. Just bear with me. Yeah, totally agree. If you have a lot of functions that are passing around large objects, you're going to take a massive performance hit. Copying next to arithmetic, divide, and square root, those three things, especially copying of objects, I mean a full class, copying classes, sending classes from one area to another area. All three of those are bad ideas. Vectors, only if you are using a lot of vectors. And if you are passing vectors around a lot, then your design choice may not be quite right. You've got design choices to minimize that if it's needed. Can you pass by a reference and put the const in front of it? Yeah. You do every time you use a string, especially coming from outside. You use the const and when coming from outside and into another object with a string. You do that automatically, otherwise things mess up within C++. The actual structure of C++ gets a bit messy, and you've got to be careful with that. But there are certain instances where you do need to use const and then on the receiving end, sorry, not on the passing end, on the receiving end, to make sure that nobody can alter, well, that the receiver of the variable can't alter the actual thing that you've sent. And they can, if it's a pointer, then they can alter the contents of the pointer, but not the pointer itself, not the address itself, which makes sense really when you think about it. You don't want them to alter the address, otherwise you lose your variable. And that has happened. That has happened by accident, mainly. I think that's what they call bugs or bad programming. Yeah, well, happens to us all, unfortunately. So there we go. There's a bit of insight. So yeah, I will answer any questions you give me. If I'm not clear in my answer, just say so. I don't mind. I can't always get it right. I'm a human being. Don't worry. Right, so I think I've got everything now. I've got an idea of what I want to call it. I've talked about pointers, get rid of that. I don't like looking at pointer stuff. It confuses my head sometimes. Cheers. Oh no, cheers mate. Anytime you want to chat, just drop by. If I'm online, you want to talk about anything about programming or anything else, designing your program or whatever, pop by. I'll give anybody the time of day. I don't mind. I'll definitely help out. So, what will we need next week? If you want to follow along in the series, maybe you want to get into the idea of prototyping yourself, because it's a quick and dirty process, prototyping. Basically, what is going to happen is code will be thrown at the screen, and what works stays and what doesn't gets deleted. That's prototyping. There's no stopping, umming and ahhing about stuff. It just gets done. So everything will have to be done with the least, prototyping, minimal amount of effort to get something done. And you'll see what I mean. That there's going to be things that I do which you just would never do. In a month of Sundays, you would totally program it a completely different way. And that's the whole point of this. Because we're going to break all the rules. Or try to. And see what we come up with. If we can come up with something brilliant, great. If we come up with something that's a load of trash, doesn't matter. We've only wasted 10 minutes. Delete it. Do it again. Or try a different angle, or try a different approach, or design, or sit there and design something that might even work. You know, if at times I will be stuck totally. So there's that to think about. I'll be using Visual Studio Code. So if you do, I'm definitely going to be using Visual Studio Code. Yeah. Anything else I'll be using? Don't know about that bit there. It's a shame I don't know how to rub out. I don't really. Oh, wait a minute. Is that rubber there? What does that do? Does that do anything? Oh, I found a rubber. How do I get it back? I've never used GIMP before. Can you tell? That one there. Yeah, that looks good. So that's what I'll be using to edit with. So primarily I will be looking at GCC. Yeah. Which on Windows is G++. So I don't know if Linux uses CC or ++, but I'll find out. There's one easy way to do it is just compile and get it over with. I will also be using QMake. I will not be using Make or CMake, which is is the equivalent to CMake. But no, not that one. No, not going anywhere near that. I don't like it. So CMake. It's normal for me to use those two. I like Visual Studio Code because it's blue and it's easy on my eyes, and I can read it. Everything's the right size for me when we do things. When we're coding on screen. Please remember that this is a 4K monitor that I'm using, so the bit of the screen that you can see is what, 1080? Yeah, 1080p. So you only see a quarter of my screen, if you get the idea. But that's what I'll be using if you want to get the tools up to speed and working on your device or whatever you want to follow along on. If you wish to follow along, you can do some coding, you can join in, you can chat, you can offer code to do some coding. I am not going to say no to any suggestions at all. I will sit there and I will try and incorporate as much as possible from the people watching and see how it all ends up. Okay, I've been on an hour. I think I've done the full introductions now. So I think it's time to wrap up. Any last questions? Oh, Monday, yeah. Usually around about midday, British summertime. And this coffee is definitely cold. So I'm going to go and have a nice cup of coffee again. And I've got to go and fix something on my server. So I'll do that as well on my Ultimate Online server. So catch you all Monday. In the meantime, I might be on YouTube on Sunday afternoon, but that will be playing a game, Naval Action, if anybody's interested in that. But that's the only other thing I might be doing. So catch you later. Take care, everybody. And above all, have fun.